Hey YouTubes, I'm back, and I know it has been quite a while since I have last posted a video, but I'll get into that a little later. Right now, my main means of transportation is down, and that would be Big Green, my 1989 Ford F250 extended cab, and it has absolutely no brakes. The master cylinder is shot, the brake booster is shot, so I've already got the old master cylinder out. I have the new master cylinder. It's a brand spanking new master cylinder already over at the bench vise. It's already been burped and bled, so that is currently good to go. Right now we are going to go ahead and remove the booster, and seems how the master cylinder is already out. The next thing to do is to jump into the cab underneath here. This is a manual transmission truck, so this pedal right here is the clutch, this pedal here is the brake, and right here is where it all connects. So I need to go ahead and get all of this disconnected and then remove these 4 bolts holding the booster to the firewall. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Fortunately, Fords are a little easier when it comes to the brake pedal assembly than the GMs are. I remember having to replace the booster in my wife's old 98 GMC Sierra 1500, and that was a struggle and a half. So with these Fords, I've had to do this in my other 89 F250, and I tried to get it on video, but that didn't work out too well. There's this clip here you grab with a pair of needle nose, if you can grip hold of it. You just pull that little clip out right there. This work light's getting a little on the warm side. And then you should be able to just reach up. There's going to be a couple of little parts. There's like a little plastic grommet looking thing. It's like a spacer, but you basically just slide this entire assembly off, and then right there in the old rod, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. Okay, now the pedal's falling away. There's this little plastic piece that goes towards the brake pedal and then gets sandwiched right in here. So you don't need to disconnect anything electrically here. You just need to be able to pull it off of the rod. Now, for these Fords, there's 2 different rods for these boosters. There's a straight one, and then there's an angled one. The heavy duties use the angled one. The light duties or standard duties use the straight one. Both my F250s are heavy duty, so they use the angled ones. They're in excess of 8,600 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. So that is considered heavy duty. So the next thing to do is to go through and remove all of these bolts. I'm going to try and get to the hardest one. Let me make sure my ratchet's on loosening. There's one. fish this over to the other side, grab the other upper one. Oh, it's still stuck on the stud. Just reach up in here. Okay, there's two. There's three. And there's four. Okay. Now we're going to move to the outside of the truck. I really hate these flexible tripods because it takes a lot to get them manipulated properly. Okay, so there's the old booster, which should be just about completely freed. I got to disconnect this vacuum line. So I'm going to go grab a pair of hose pliers. In fact, I need a pair of needle nose pliers to take that clamp off, because I'm going to have to reattach this hose to the valve on the replacement booster. Now, I know this booster is bad because every time I press on the brake pedal, I get a large hiss of air coming out from under the dash. So that is definitely the booster going bad. I know the master cylinder's gone bad because the brake pedal sinks all the way to the floor. So let's go ahead and get this hose off. The needle nose here. I really have nothing good to say about these style of clamps. I really don't like them. I like the worm screw styled ones. They seem to be not only easier to work with, but also stronger as well. These ones here, I've had brand new ones that I have placed on. Brand new fittings, brand new hose, brand new clamps just like this. And within a short period of time, they have lost their strength and popped off. With this kind of line, however, not really too worried about it. Although I'm about ready to cut this one off. At least the hose itself isn't really stuck. But now I'm getting it to move somewhat. There we go. Get it off of that barb. Okay. There's that. Now, let's see if I can just pull this off. If I have to. Gimme. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Came off. Alright, now, if I recall correctly, I just got to unbolt the cruise control box from this point on the fender, and that will give me enough space to get this booster out. I remember having to do that on old Floyd. So my handy dandy ratchet. By the way, the nuts for the master cylinder and for holding the booster to the firewall are all 9/16. For the firewall, you're going to need a deep well. You will also need a deep well here at the master cylinder, although you could get away with a spline socket set just like this. I have two. I have the Horrible Freight Pittsburgh style. I also have a nice set of Craftsman's, but my Craftsman's are not here right now, so I have to make do with what I have. So if I recall correctly, those I do believe are... I'm going to try 7/16. They're smaller than a 9/16. That is loose. So maybe 3/8. Let's see if it's... Yeah, 3/8 is my winner, or if I'm going to have to go to a 10mm, the infamous 10mm. Okay, bigger than a 3/8, which... $10mm, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, are you guys able to see what I'm doing over there? So, just got to... That one's loose. Set that aside where I can use it later. Set that with the other one so they too can also be lost later, if not both of them, at least one of them. And then take this and position it in a way to where I can finally slide this thing out. And there we have a bare firewall, at least as far as the brakes are concerned. So let's go ahead and grab the replacement, the remanufactured unit, and get it placed on the firewall. Garbage off. There's a reman tag. Now on these, remember when I took this unit out, this valve was on this side, on the right hand side as you're sitting in the vehicle, so as you're facing it left hand side. Alright, your rod, when I took it off the pedal, the high point of the rod faces up. Let me make sure this is in camera. So the high point of this rod faces up into the dash. So you'll need to make sure your rod is facing up and that your valve, as you're looking into the engine bay facing it, is on your left-hand side. So let's go ahead and get this set down in here without getting a whole lot snaggled up. Careful with those brake lines, I don't want to crush them. Just need them moved and make sure all of these vacuum lines and whatnot are out of the way. Electrical lines, vacuum lines. There we go. Okay, so that's gonna hold its position. In fact, if I take, hopefully I shouldn't have to remove this again. Take this, take it back up underneath there. I did not lose any of the bolts yet. Get these snuggled in place here on the fender. Maybe. Miss your ratchet, and I'm going to do things the easy way. Grab my extension so I can clear that hinge spring. Make sure it's set to tightening. Tighten itself right into position. Not too tight because these can snap off very easily. They're not mediocre quality like Snap-on. These will do quite the opposite. They will snap off. Going in, but okay. That's back in place. That ain't going nowhere while we're here. And I'll wait until it's actually anchored to the firewall, which is our next step. So now we return to the cab. Where hopefully I can get you guys back into a position to see what's going on. Alright, so there's the rod right there. So what I need to do is find all my little bits and pieces. There's my clip, there's my little plastic washer. Remember, this plastic washer goes towards the brake pedal in the rod. And then you got to take this, slip it over the rod. Hopefully you guys can see that. No, moved. Okay, hold on, technical difficulties here. And of course it starts to rain. Lovely. Alright, I gotta get this done. Okay, so are you guys, yes, you can barely see it because I can barely squeeze my keister in here. So let's see, this goes something like this. And it may sometimes help to twist the rod a little bit, and then voila. Now it is just a matter of getting this pushed to where you can get that little clip back through that hole. Which is this little guy right here. And a pair of pliers will help. Okay, one pair of pliers later. Gotta get into a position where I can get leverage, because leverage is always your friend. And it's still not in place. And trust me, if I could reach up in here with even a rubber mallet, I would. Sometimes a bent nose pair of pliers is a better tool. Maybe. Now I'm moving you guys around again. There we go. Maybe use the wrong tool to get the job done. So in this case, I'm going to try and position maybe flat nose, round object. Physics don't work that way, but I might have a better tool for the job. Okay, so a makeshift drift. And a small Tanya Harding. I do believe that did the trick. That did. Alright, so that is up in there now. That ain't coming off. And I'll set these aside so they can get pissed on later. Now, to get the nuts on that are going to hold this to the firewall. Now, another thing I have just noticed is up here on this upper right-hand stud, it is marked yellow. None of the other studs are marked yellow. This indicates this goes to the upper right-hand corner. That is the correct way that this unit should face when attached to the firewall. So look for that mark. It could be red, could be yellow, could be blue, could be turquoise. It doesn't matter. They will generally mark the stud because these do not come with new bolts. You have to use the old bolts or nuts from the old unit that came with your vehicle. So this process does apply for the 1987 to 1991 8th generation Fords F-Series, and I do believe also the Broncos as well. But my truck happens to be a 1989 F250. And there I go, just whacking you with the tools again. Set my electric ratchet to tightening. Give it. Thank you. Okay, now that one is snugged in place. So make it easier to get the others on. So there's number 2. There's number 3. And there's number 4. So let's go ahead and get these tightened up. You still on shot? Yes. Get it? You're not supposed to keep the socket. Gimme my tools. Alright, now for the 2 lower ones. It did so well coming off. Now you gotta be a basket case going on. There I go, bumping the camera again. Still in shot? Yep. Okay, take that off. Get that out of there. And voila. That would be a power booster now installed. Now we got to do the master cylinder. So turn this light off because that is hot and I don't need to be in here no more. Come out here. I may actually need that light because it is actually pretty late in the evening. So the next part is going to be installation of the brake master cylinder. I am actually going to run these two portions probably a week apart. So that is the removal and installation of a brake booster out of a 1989 Ford F250. So stay tuned for part 2 when we go ahead and do the brake master cylinder. Alright, I will see you on the next one. And as always, I'm Dr. Frankentruck, and I'll see you on the operating table. Bye.